That's enough! This court sees no reason to further prolong the trial. Wait, it's over already? The episode just began. I've read on the Ace Attorney Wiki that Furio Tigre was designed to look nothing like Phoenix because Takumi felt it would fit better in the Ace Attorney universe. It is a little ridiculous, though, that they decided to have the image of him sprinkling the poison into the coffee fade from black and white to color and not even get his skin tone right. You could just keep it in black and white and it wouldn't really make a difference. You don't have to contradict yourself. And they even proceed to show Tigre behind the defense bench pretending to be Phoenix Wright. I got a lot to list about this imposter, such as the fact that this opening cutscene depicts him as having the same skin tone as Phoenix instead of the orange tan Tigre actually has. But I'll get to all those other crazy things about the impersonation as we go through the episode because man, I'll have a field day with this. When was that issue from anyway?
December of last year, which I guess makes it last month.
Last month? You mean to tell me it's been a month since the initial sham of a trial and this is the first Phoenix has heard about this? Because the Phoenix Wright is super famous now. Well, maybe only sort of. This only lends more credence to my previous sin. Why didn't Phoenix hear about this sooner?
But why would someone want to impersonate me?
I have a better question. How do they pull it off? Basing this sin off of information from Rise from the Ashes, don't those badges have ID numbers on the back? Do they not check badge IDs? If it doesn't have Phoenix's badge ID, the imposter should have been found out right away. Dang it, Maggie, didn't I already clear your name 15 months ago? And now your job as a waitress. That imposter just made a mistake. I was fired after that incident last year. No, you weren't. At the end of the last game, you said you were resigning to become a waitress. So which is it, Capcom? This whole mess started on the 3rd of last month, and it happened at Trés Bien. They screwed up the accent in the name. It's Trés Bien. So it was a band CD. Maybe a promo disc. Maybe it was MC Screwdriver. Interesting take on MC Hammer, but that's the name of a rapper, not a band. Sorry, Maya, someone had to say it. And what about the killer? What did he look like? Well, I don't really remember. Only that he was a young man. I know he's Phoenix's imposter, but Tigre is 42. That's not a young adult. He's middle-aged, and he looks middle-aged. Hey, Maggie, was my double Iam here, too? No, I don't remember a phony you, Maya. Don't you think that's strange that Phoenix came to the detention center alone? It's not like Maya was in Kurian Village last month. Well, okay, so you were a bit taller than normal, and you looked a bit shady, and your voice was a bit weird. Oh, and you had this kind of funny accent, and... So the guy was nothing like me then. And Maggie just let him take the defense anyway? Why? How about everyone else in the courtroom, like the judge and the observers? Didn't they realize he was an imposter? Everyone had these big question marks on their faces. But it seemed like no one wanted to say anything, sir. I know that by this point in the video, I'll probably get a comment about it if I don't address this soon, considering what Tigre's like when you finally get to cross-examine him in court. You see him as this big, tough guy who could destroy you in a matter of seconds. But if they really had concerns, it's still just one guy. Oh, but he's a strong guy. Have a bunch of officers go at him and things get too rough! Is every judicial system in this series really that clueless on how to manage things like this? Since I was 6 months old when I fell from the 9th floor of my apartment building. Oh boy, here we go again. And one day I'll find it. Just you wait and see, sir. I'll find that one single moment of good luck. I've looked at your future, Maggie. It's not looking good. You'll appear in one more game and get accused of murder again. And after that, you don't get to show your face in the series again until maybe Ace 37, where you are a murder suspect once a freak again. Why is the crime scene still barred off? Why is the tablecloth still staying with coffee? It's been a whole month since the original trial and still it's under investigation? What's the point of forcing me to grab the sports magazine from the restaurant, then just going straight back to the detention center for Maggie to remember the name she saw, then back to Trés Bien? What does it do for the story, other than just confirming something that didn't really need confirming? Why not just have Armstrong appear immediately after we take the sports magazine at least? Screw this woman, screw this woman, screw this woman. Oh wait, it's a man. Well, screw this man, screw this man, screw this man. Mais oui, oui! I never forget a man who flirts with me, especially in court. Tigre did what with Armstrong? So what does Trés Bien mean? I know tres, that means 3, right? No, that would be tres. Es español. No. Trés Bien is Francais. In English, you would say, very good. Well, now I know what not to say Trés Bien to, as well as who for that matter. About the lawyer. That was me, I suppose. Mais bien sûr! Wow, he's the first person who said it wasn't me. No, he said just the exact opposite. Mais bien sûr literally means, but of course. Wait, where's the Magatama? Look, Maggie says she didn't even know the guy, but she's still been indicted for murder. The prosecution must have come up with some kind of motive. Oi, it is true. If there was anything at all between Maggie and the victim, it could be relevant. So please, tell us anything you know. I know that Armstrong is the accomplice, and I also know that Armstrong took the lottery ticket he thought was the winning one, but what reason did he have to hide what Maggie's motive in the murder was? He could still do that without revealing his involvement. We'll just have to remove— What the? But what's wrong?
The Magatama! It's gone!
Oh, so that's why the Magatama wasn't in the court record when I opened it earlier, because Armstrong already swiped it. But also, what does it matter that the Magatama got stolen? You know he's got something to hide because the Psyche locks show up. But also, it's not like we even have the information we need to unlock the secrets anyway, so why even bother with the Magatama theft? But also, the Magatama doesn't just disappear. Just ask Armstrong if he has something in mind and get it back. He's throwing seeds out for the pigeons. Maya, he's not throwing seeds for them. He's throwing seeds at them. But he's not throwing seeds yet. He's just standing there rubbing his nose like a grumpy old man. Excuse me, sir. Can I ask you about Maggie Bird?
I don't know any Maggie Bird.
Yes, you do. Maggie, the waitress at Trés Bien. Was there any reason to assume the old man knew the waitress's name? Just talk about the waitress from last month and he'll immediately understand. You use names, of course you're gonna get a response like that.
That garbage they serve in there is not food. Where's the sushi, the tempura, the rice?
Trés Bien is a French restaurant, sir.
Where do you think we are, boy? In Paris?
Well, we're certainly not in Japan. Technically we are, but if we're going by the English localization, we're not in Japan either. Remember, Nick, that Magatama is only on loan. Is it though? As I've come to understand, even in Apollo Justice and beyond, Phoenix still has the Magatama, even after Maya's back in Wright Village. As far as I understand, he pretty much just owns the Magatama now. How does the game expect you to know that you need to pick up the job listings magazine from Vitamin Square, then go present it to Armstrong in order to advance the story? Not to mention, why would you need to do this? I feel like after your dizzying chat with Armstrong, you should look at Maya and see her as perfect waitress material and immediately hire her, whether you presented the job listings or not. Also, remember the last time you hired a waitress that quickly with no interview or anything? That waitress spent the last month serving time for a poisoning that she had nothing to do with. And more importantly, this time it's Maya. Is he going to frame her for murder as if she hadn't already been through this twice now? Lastly, why even bother hiring new staff if the place doesn't really get any customers? What are you even going to pay your employees? Are you really the only person who's even doing any work for this restaurant most of the time? I know he's in big debt, but holy crap! I know why, but I just hate how you have to go through the detention center just to get to criminal affairs from Trés Bien.
Now listen up, pal. If Maggie's found guilty again,
Yes?
I'll make sure you get locked up good for it. Got it?
For what? Being unable to make up the evidence I need to make my case?
Ah, so that's it. Our big old Gumshoe has a little old crush on Maggie.
I don't like her or anything. I was.
Note to self, gossip with Maya about this later.
Look, pal, don't tell anyone, okay? You gotta keep it a secret, got it?
Sure. And would you mind not guessing what I'm thinking all the time?
Hey, tell your face, pal, not me. You'd have to be blind not to see what's on your mind.
Okay, so this time it makes sense. Gumshoe knows Phoenix is thinking he has a crush on Maggie by his facial expression. What about most other times when characters know what Phoenix is thinking? Other times it's way more specific. Why does this one just feel way more natural than those others? It's sinful is what it is. What was her supposed motive?
Sorry, pal, I'm real busy. I haven't even got enough time to sit through these papers.
Is that so, Mr. I put every other case on hold?
You know, there's something about that lady, guy.
Huh? You can't stop thinking about him?
Not like that, pal. Give me a break. He's not my type.
Of course he's not! You're not gay! Well, how do I look? Maybe you should quit being a spirit medium. I don't know, but I can't say. This character looks a little too fine in that waitress outfit. Won't be my fault she gets accused of murder again. About the lunch. Oh, a fine choice, sir. No, Kitchen, a lunch special, please! With all the extras, drink, side salad, dessert, and gift! I don't need any of that! Just a moment, please, sir. And Phoenix said maybe she should quit being a spirit medium. Maya's got to be the worst waitress ever. Sorry to keep you waiting, sir. Here you are, our deluxe fortified lunch set. And that wasn't even the lunch set Phoenix ordered! Is every other waitress that worked here this bad, or is it just Maya? Now what was it that Maggie said again? In the kitchen, you'll get to see all the chef's greatest secrets. When did she ever say that? Oh, I'd have to present the job listings to her? I doubt most people are even going to do that. Oh, and Armstrong just leaves the Magatama out in the open for Maya to find, even after hiring her. Some thief he is. Oh, the aromatherapy oils. He's got so many they're overflowing onto the floor. Let's see. 98, 99, 100. No, there's actually 26 of those bottles lying there. Well, what do you know? And it doesn't have a label either. And it doesn't smell. What you do not smell is called iocane powder. Oh man, I wish. Then I could suggest the poison was iocane, not cyanide. This one line takes 10 seconds to go through, and while it doesn't seem that long, I felt those 10 seconds passing by. Oh, hello there, other guy at the victim's table. You look like you got a really bad suntan since I last saw you.
Why? You've been messing with my new ride? Is that what you've been doing?
Is he accusing me of causing damages to the scooter? Because he already knows how it got this way.
Hey, then who's the one that covered my saddle in crap? Huh? Why? You's gonna pay, you catch my drift?
No, wait a sec. I'm not a pigeon, so I couldn't have done it. So there's pigeon crap on the seat? I don't see any. Surely that guy wasn't my phony, was he? He wasn't anything like me! More than just the orange tan this guy has. Phoenix Wright does not talk in a Brooklyn accent, Judge.
A few threats from a little brat like that, and you look like a pigeon that's got seeds in his eyes.
The only reason you're looking down on me in that manner is because he wasn't talking to you.
People only have one reason to go to restaurants, to eat.
You already admitted that the food there is terrible, dude. It's not like Trés Bien is the only restaurant in the city, and thank goodness.
That's the Twin Tea set.
No, according to Maya, that's the deluxe fortified lunch set. If you're gonna name the terrible meals at Trés Bien, at least be consistent.
You don't have money to burn. You're flat broke.
Okay, so that's the real reason the job listings are important. Or is it? Kudo has no reason at all to lie about being filthy stinking rich. Ah, man, Gumshoe's still getting the sports paper all checked out. This is the main thing that sucks about these Magatama portions. You're not always going to have the information you need to advance, causing you to backtrack way more often than you would like to admit. This kind of thing happened a lot in Justice for All, and while it's not as bad in Trials and Tribulations, in some cases it's still pretty bad. See, this is what I mean with the backtracking. Immediately after Armstrong takes Maya to give her a waitress outfit to wear, I have to first go to Criminal Affairs to give Gumshoe the sports paper to look over, then back to Trés Bien so I can see Maya and her waitress, gather info about the expensive lunch, then go to the kitchen to get the Magatama back and find that small green bottle, and you think you finally got enough to crack Kudo's secret, but nope, you need to go back to Criminal Affairs to get the sports paper and give the green bottle to Gumshoe. Man, this game loves to make your head spin with all sorts of needless procedure, doesn't it? It's easy to see why people don't like this episode.
I had a hunch there was something funny about that chef.
You suspect Jean Armstrong?
I've got that guy's number.
You got his number? I know what he means by that, but stop giving the fans ideas!
The real scoop on the guy is he's up to his ears in debt.
Oh, is he? I wonder why that is.
This is a copy of his loan contract. He's about $500,000 in the red.
$500,000? What kind of desperate businessman is Armstrong? Why would he borrow a $500,000 loan that he obviously has no hope of repaying because his restaurant sucks and no one likes to go there? To you, that waitress was your...
Enough! Please! No more! Stop saying that word! Stop saying waitress! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
So the secret is that Kudo is yet another screwed up man taking a bit too much pleasure in hot young ladies.
Fine! So I'm a dirty, wicked, sinful old devil. No, I didn't mean it like that.
Phoenix, that guy's problems. Listen, sir.
Stop calling me that! I have a name, you know, boy, so show some respect, I'm Victor Kudo.
Maybe if you had told me that sooner, I would be calling you by name. This is the only Ace Attorney game where you get to say, I used Maya's body to get testimony from a grumpy old man.
He fed me as well. I got a bunch of those seeds in my eyes.
No, you did not.
Ha! Huh? You're still just a little child.
Ah, so he does have standards. I just wish they were more moral. Excuse me, please, sir.
Quiet! Can't you see I'm feeding the bitch?
Is this technically necrophilia?
I was a young businessman once, you know? I set up a casino in London.
Really? How interesting.
Eating the food at that restaurant really takes me back to my days in France.
What a lovely story.
London's in England, not France.
But there's something in Kudo's underpants. Honestly, I can't believe Maya called me for something like this. If you want to blame someone, blame me. I'm the one that brought her here. This was the motive that la prosecution gave for Maggie. They said that she poisons a man to get the $500,000 lottery ticket. Yeah, I'd totally kill someone over some stupid lottery.
Ah! Wow, that is one piercing scream, even for a man like him.
I wonder if he's related to Prince. Usually, the only time you present the Magatama is to begin the Psyche Lock session, but this time you present it to unlock a Psyche Lock. This is the only other time in the series you would present the Magatama not to begin the Psyche Lock session other than presenting it to Pearl so she could activate the thing.
Manon, why would I steal it? I have no need for such money.
Stop pretending! We already know you don't get customers! But in that case, Maggie shouldn't be the only one under suspicion. He had the wrong ticket. So, if the motive is for the lottery ticket, whether or not he had the right ticket, Armstrong should still be a suspect.
If you screw up, then I'll be doing some squaring away myself. Squaring away some paperwork for your arrest.
I think he's serious.
He is? What would be the charge exactly? Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor? Ah! What's wrong? Nothing. It's just whenever I addressed you in the previous trial, your response was, "You was talking to me?" And you never bothered to hold the guy in contempt of court? I know Tigre's a strong guy, but that's no reason not to have a bunch of officers go at him. She claims that there was another man at the victim's table.
Yeah, that's what she said, and I...
What killer wouldn't say that when faced with a homicide conviction? What killer would just stick to her testimony even after 2 witnesses have testified to the exact contrary?
what piece was it again?
This!
Should I be grateful this coffee's only hot enough to give me first-degree burns?
How? Godot drinks his coffee black with no sugar or milk, not to mention very hot. You could have spoken up a little sooner, Detective Gumshoe. Pull a stunt like that again, I'll have you drink 17 cups of ketchup, witness.
Ugh, I thought everyone knew what it was already.
We're talking about a red stain on Maggie's apron that looked like blood but was actually ketchup. Why did Gumshoe assume everyone would recognize ketchup in a murder case? New Ear Otolaryngological Clinic. Otolaryngological? Thanks for giving me an ultra long and hard to pronounce vocabulary word to figure out, game. It was 11:03 when the judge called for a 10-minute recess, but we actually came back 12 minutes later. That's cheating. Mr. Kudo, she is not a serving girl. Please refer to her as a waitress.
Ha! You're as bad as the rest of them! All these newfangled words, what's wrong with the old-fashioned ones,
I honestly don't know whose side to take. On one hand, the judge shouldn't be taking issue with Kudo's choice of words. It sounds like more of a preference than anything. But on the other hand, Kudo had no problem saying waitress yesterday. Besides, the word waitress has existed since the 1500s. Why would Kudo have a problem saying it now?
All this talk of radios and glasses, it's wireless and spectacles, I tell you!
Okay, Kudo's seriously not helping his own argument. I can understand referring to glasses as spectacles, but how many people called radios wireless? And I do count the elderly among this crowd. So the particular feature you recognize about the waitress is her outfit? But anyone could wear such a uniform, even me!
Mr. Wright, please spare the court of any further mental anguish from that image.
Too late, Your Honor. Also, and uniform. Is it possible that you never saw the waitress from the front at all? Objection! Ha! He's got you there, Gramps. But he is agreeing with me. Why was there an objection clear from Godot at that moment? This is one of those rare instances where you have to look at the icon in order to know how the evidence is to be presented. I've heard people take issue with it, but I really don't get the issue. It's just another layer to presenting evidence, and there's nothing wrong with that. I know the evidence icons haven't always been important, but isn't it possible to consider the icons as another way to carefully consider the information that's being presented? This one still goes out to my homies that take issue with it. I'm just saying it's ridiculous.
Been around for 68 years, I have. You can't ignore me.
Boo! You're just 1 year off!
HDTV, DVD, CD. All these newfangled letters drive me mad, but they don't matter.
Hey, it's not like your childhood years didn't have that kind of thing either, so what's your point? I'm ordering the defense and the prosecution to investigate this case further. That is all for now. This court is adjourned.
Hold it!
Dang it, Kudo, I was ready to move on to the next chapter.
He's gotta be using some sort of infinite ammo code with that box of seeds.
How ironic of a video game character of all people to talk about cheat codes in a video game. He's got a point though. Kudo does have a lot of seeds.
I'm no granddad of yours, hopscotch! Ow! Ow!
Do pigeon seeds really hurt that bad? I think Phoenix is overreacting. What the heck are we supposed to do with 3 copies? Were you not paying attention to the judge, Maya? Here you are then, Mr. Wright. There are 3 copies. My own, yours, and Mr. Godot's. We weren't given 3 copies of Kudo's testimony. There were just 3 altogether. Chief, quit playing on the internet! But my email pen pal, 1337 Asian Princess! That's racist. Hey, Detective Gumshoe's having lunch here.
He is, and he's having the twin tea set.
Can Gumshoe even afford to eat at Trés Bien with his low salary? It's not even worth it anyway, so why'd he even order anything?
They called him the walking computer at the place where he worked.
What happens when he crashes though? Does he just stop moving all of a sudden? Well, that did happen last month. We'll be fine. I know all about that high-tech stuff. You and I both know that's a lie, Maya. Come on, Detective Gumshoe. You can tell little old me. What were you listening to?
Nothing really. It was just the daily exercise show.
Why is this a Psyche Lock section? We already heard you shouting when we came in. Just tell me about the lottery. Well, that's a minute of my life I'll never get back. Sure, it was only 1 minute, but wasted time is still wasted time. That way, I could give you my undivided attention and cook for you la dish supreme. Putting on a brave face, huh? That's what girls do, Nick. With a line like that, they could have just made Armstrong outright a female head chef, but nope, instead we get this joke of an existence. So, who was she? She looks so polite and graceful. Maya, Maya, Maya. Can't you take the context clues?
If I tell you that woman, she will slice me up and eat me with the salad garnish.
Why is he smiling while talking about his life being in danger? How many weenies are in here? There's not a person on earth who could down this much meat. You'd be surprised, Maya. I have my eye on you, only so I can take care of you. Understand? In case you haven't noticed, I've kind of been poking around this area, so if you're gonna take care of us, do it now. That's an attorney's badge. Is the tiger a lawyer?
No way, look at this thing. It's made of paper.
Okay, but the description says it's made of cardboard, so which is it? I know cardboard is made of heavy paper, but no one I know looks at something made of cardboard and thinks, oh, this thing's made of paper.
Why doesn't anyone recognize an obviously fake badge when they see one?
Dang it, Phoenix, I was just about to send this, but you beat me to it. This only further proves my point that this shouldn't have worked. As evident in Rise from the Ashes, attorneys' badges have IDs on the back. A badge made of cardboard obviously wouldn't have that. What, do they just not check IDs? How is it that the judicial system gets even more useless with each game? I accidentally knocked over a really big space heater once. Cleaning up was such a pain. It was one of those super antiques where you have to burn a ton of charcoal.
How did she manage to knock one of those over? Aren't they supposed to be super heavy?
I swear Phoenix is trying to steal my setting job. What? It's not the Rocco soundtrack, is it? Claw of the Tiger? Could these pop culture references be any more on the nose than this? Let's listen to it. I bet it's heavy metal.
No way! That woman will make us drink more coffee if we do.
No, she wouldn't make you drink anything. I don't think. Not this again. Did you call them on your cell phone?
Gah! Do I look like I'd have one of those newfangled thingamajigs?
To be fair, Phoenix did ask a pretty stupid question, especially if we're to consider Kudo's personality. My name is Lisa Bassel. Okay, so not only did you create one of the most boring Ace Attorney characters, you gave her a name that's not even clever. Oh wait, it's a palindrome? Huh. Still, not a great character.
I'm researching the impact of time-slicing common areas and multi-threaded code on logical access to shared global variables. Obviously, program structure heavily influences response time and performance, so the co-independence of global variables and memory overheads is vitally important to the success of the execution.
Yikes, thank goodness I didn't care. How about Mr. Rogue's desk? Have you cleared it out already? No, not yet. It's this one right in front of you. It's been a month since the murder and you still haven't cleared out Elg's desk? Why? What if you get a new employee? He was a bit of a loser. Perhaps that would be the best way to describe it. Wow, way to speak of the dead in such a manner. You said he got himself into trouble because he was a bit of a loser. I wonder how many people watching my parodies have taken issue with the Psyche Locks. If you don't like them, I'm kind of starting to see why. This episode is rife with people keeping secrets like this.
I'm going to stay up all night and blog about everything that happened.
With what? Do they even let you use the computers or cell phones?
Well, he's not the only thing that disappeared. The CD vanished as well. You know, the CD with the writing on it.
Oh yeah, the MC Screwdriver album, right? How did she already forget what was written in the sports paper? I already told you to stop using a computer, Chief! But I'm watching videos online! I'm catching up on my Asian soap operas! What the heck is wrong with the Chief of Detectives? Why is he this inept at taking these things seriously?
What did he just say? That lady?
Who's this lady he's talking about, Nick? Who do you think, Maya? We visited Tender Lender. We saw her. Bruno Cadaverides, the boss of the Cadaverini family.
The Cadaverides? That's one scary sounding name.
You think it's scary now? Wait until you hear what it means in Italian.
But I heard she and the boss of Tender Lender are pretty tight.
Tight?
That's what it said in the file I read related to Maggie's case.
Maybe my quips about Tigre's plan working too well were a bit unfounded. Despite him looking nothing like Phoenix, he is in cahoots with the mob and therefore, assuming I'm not making mistakes in my reasoning, can cheat the system. That being said, they have a file related to Maggie's case about the connection between Viola and Tigre, and they still let Tigre's childish defense pass as Phoenix's childish defense?
Oh, I get it. It's like you sneezing on Mr. Godot so he catches a cold.
Right, then he wouldn't be able to turn up in court because he'd be too sick. Hey, just because Godot has a grudge against me for some reason doesn't mean I should be returning the favor, even in an example.
Don't worry about it, pal. I figured something would happen, so I came prepared.
Prepared? What do you mean?
I made a jumbo lunchbox.
So Gumshoe had the feeling Maggie would still be tainted by his testimony, so as a backup plan he made more weenies? You good people are very, very bad. Cashing in on others' misfortunes is immoral. Who said anything about cashing in on others' misfortune? Remember what I said earlier about this episode being rife with people keeping secrets? I think this is one of the worst examples. At one part, in order to be able to break one of Basil's psyche locks, you'd have to talk to Viola to get the Furio Tigre profile into the court record. I especially don't get this because by the time you have every other piece of evidence you need for the other psyche locks, you already came face to face with the tiger and learned the correlation between the man and the title. Even if you don't know his real name, you at least know what he looks like and the fact that he's referred to as the tiger. Just have that info put in the court record first, then once you learn his name, make an update. It can't be that complicated, and not learning the name first shouldn't prohibit you from advancing in the Psyche Lock segment.
Then the lender is on your side.
No, it is not. How dare you steal an insurance company's slogan to use for a loan company?
The tiger saved you? Please address him properly as Don Tigre, otherwise I'll have to.
People already know him as the tiger anyway. What does it matter if we don't call him Don Tigre?
He said he was taking on some extra work, something a bit risky.
Risky? How? Maybe he was going to become a waitress at Trés Bien. We just talked about the fact that he was working on a computer virus. Also, that would be risky considering it's crappy business. Use a trash can, Nick. What's that? Maya's actually making sense for a change? Payment was due last year? As Viola constantly states, the incident took place 4 months ago. That's not even half a year.
There are two things that I consider inexcusable: poisoning and betrayal. Only a coward would hurt people using either of these tactics.
Whoa. Even though Viola's the granddaughter of a mob boss, the game does a good job making you sympathize with her. It's especially gutting when you know Phoenix had been through something similar in his college years. For such strong storytelling, even in one of the weakest cases in the original trilogy, I gotta take 5 sins off. Ah! It's Zeniope! Who you calling Zeniope? Wait, so she was never pronouncing it Zenith? Dang, that sounded like it made more sense. The world, you see, keeps turning, and we must turn with it. You lost me already, Mr. Godot. Seriously, that was one of the easiest parables to read. On the day of the incident, you were at Trés Bien's kitchen. Isn't that right? Was you, monsieur? Huh? Everything feels right. No, they do not. I remember I was experimenting with some new art decos that day, like having a large mirror between our tables, for example. That has to be the lamest excuse for the old man's testimony that I've ever heard. A large mirror that was just gone after the incident? And suddenly, the mystery disappears. Why are you agreeing with that? Even you must realize how stupid this whole thing is. What a naughty little coquette I am, confusing all the men like this. I am living proof of this confusion you provided. This photo clearly shows something that theoretically should not exist. What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? Should not exist? Ha! Sounds like you're describing yourself, Wright. Dude, you didn't have to say that just because I'm about to point out a contradiction. Because Mr. Kudo was not, in fact, sitting at the table next to the victim at all! Objection. Don't be an idiot, Wright. That's impossible. How about you don't be an idiot, Godot, and acknowledge that the mirror Armstrong supposed never existed in the first place? It was an imposter, a phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. And that imposter was Furio Tigre, but just like with how he impersonated Phoenix, Tigre's skin tone is clearly different from Elg's. I know it may not sound as much of a big deal since Kudo was the only one who witnessed the fake poisoning, but not once did Kudo ever mention anything about the skin tone of the victim being different than from what he saw. Settle down or I'll clear the courtroom. Quiet, Grabs. Why don't you clear out of here, huh? What did you say? Bailiff, arrest Mr. Godot for contempt of court! Seriously, Judge, have some spine and do more to Godot than just scold him. No!
Mr. Godot? The bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. In such a manner as what we just witnessed? I feel like that could kill a person. How about a brand new flavor in your ear, my H-deficient friend? Say, resist!
It is a trap! Listen to me! Por favor!
Yo hablo español, Mr. Armstrong, and por favor is Spanish. So the judge knows Spanish. Wow, who knew? Also, whatever happened to Armstrong sticking with his French persona? Sure, I guess he was never really French to begin with.
What do they always say in the movies? I've got a bad feeling about this.
Phoenix Solo. Absolutely no way. It couldn't have been 3 hours and 21 minutes since the trial started at this point in time. Hey, that's the pot calling the kettle black, little Miss Top Knot. It's not a top knot. Actually, it is. Also, what the heck brought that on? The recess was meant to be 30 minutes, yet it was 35 minutes. That's cheating. So, who the heck called me this hole? Was it you, Spiky? Spiky? You're one to talk. That lowlife ain't no lawyer. He just punches away at stupid details till he wins. I guess that's kinda true? Listen up, Smarty. Every time you ask me something that don't relate to this case, I'm gonna bill you $50,000, and you's gonna borrow the cash from me. Is he even allowed to force that kind of payment? I know he has criminal connections and all, but he's saying all this stuff out loud. Surely something can be done about that unless I'm mistaken. Witness, please remember that you're under oath. Lies will not be tolerated. You just call me a liar? Is that what you're doing? Well, you did say you never met Glenn Elk before, and that wasn't true. Seriously, what's with these witnesses that have been caught in a lie but refuse to acknowledge it as a lie? I ain't never even been to that Trés Bien joint. Yous hear? Of course, he knows about Trés Bien because he was the culprit, but how is that not what Phoenix uses to expose his involvement? Until this point, no one ever said the name Trés Bien the whole time he was on the stand. Anytime Tri presses you on something irrelevant, I'll see he pays a penalty. Mr. Godot, that's my job! Your job is to slam that little hammer of yours and call a guilty verdict, so do it! Hey, stupid writer, you're writing a line for Godot, not for Avant Karma! Also, he tells the judge to call a guilty verdict, but he doesn't do it despite saying yes, sir. What was the point of that line then? But you did see the victim that day, because you met with him! Wrong! Have you forgotten the old man's testimony yesterday? The victim was alone at his table. But the defense just proved that point to be moot! Yeah, Godot! What is with the prosecutor always making pointless points that don't even matter anymore? So you'd think that in order to connect Tigre to the crime, you'd have to present the medical papers to the last statement of his last testimony. But that doesn't work, even though Elk won $500,000 and Tigre needed $1,000,000 to pay for Viola's surgery. You have to first press the statement, ask about what he meant by everything being all over, then present the evidence to the new statement, which, by the way, changes nothing from what he said. Why make it so convoluted? Just let me present the evidence right away and be done with it. About 6 months ago, you were involved in a traffic accident, weren't you? 6 months ago? Viola said it was 4 months ago. Many times, even. A computer virus is a program that wreaks havoc on the insides of a computer. A computer? What does one of those do? I find it very unlikely the judge wouldn't know what a computer is. It's not like they were a new invention even when the game first came out. What an insult to think anyone could be fooled by such a childish imitation.
Consider yourself insulted, Your Honor.
And everyone else in the room. Seriously, how and why did no one question this? Speaking for myself, I am absolutely convinced. The attorney in question was the witness standing before me now. However, I preside over this court as the judge, with the vested power to hand down a verdict. Someone in my position cannot be swayed by a memory without evidence to support it. See, this is why America uses a jury to determine the rulings. Gumshoe ex machina. This bottle contains potassium cyanide. Ace Attorney, the only franchise where a lawyer is allowed to lie about his evidence as long as it gets the culprit to slip up in his plans to get away with his crime. Hallelujah! I saved my 17th cup of coffee just for you. Any reason for Godot to throw the mug in Phoenix's face during the blackout? No? Okay. No amount of bribery can make me believe that it was over an hour after the last recess ended that Maggie got acquitted. He didn't have any choice, Maggie. He's a detective. He has to report the facts. He doubted me, that's why. He thought I might have done it. And what happened to all the thanks you were giving to Gumshoe earlier for at least making an effort to find something useful from the medicine bottle he was having examined during the recess? And who knows, maybe a whole new chapter of her life is about to start. A whole new chapter called Getting Accused of Murder Again, and that chapter is unfortunately the last one, for now.